If your March or summer 2026 travel plans include a long-haul international flight, this matters more than you think. Even if you're not going anywhere near Iran, you could still end up paying more, getting rerouted, or losing your flight altogether. That's because this conflict isn't staying local anymore. It's already putting pressure on fuel prices, flight routes, and the global airline network far beyond the region. And no, it's not just because airlines are avoiding certain airspace. The real problem is bigger, messier, and a lot more expensive than that. The real trouble starts once fuel and flight operations get pulled into the chaos. It isn't just about finding a safe flight path. The conflict is shaking up global oil and jet fuel markets. Because of that, airlines can no longer assume fuel will be affordable or even reliably available once a plane lands. Now, they aren't just asking if a flight can get to its destination. The nightmare scenario is this: if we land on the other side, is there even going to be enough fuel waiting to get that plane back home? Imagine driving deep into a remote desert. If you're not 100% sure the only gas station at the end actually has fuel, would you risk the trip? Exactly. That's why so many flights are getting canceled before the wheels even leave the tarmac. The impact on American travelers is becoming crystal clear, and it's basically showing up in 3 different ways. First, sky-high ticket prices. Think of the global aviation industry like a massive domino effect. When conflict breaks out, the first hit usually lands on your wallet. Jet fuel prices spike, insurance costs climb, and airlines start looking for ways to protect their margins. That usually means higher fares for passengers. In fact, some international routes are already seeing prices rise by 25 to 40%. And once airlines start trimming weaker or off-peak flights, as United is now doing after fuel prices surged, there are fewer seats in the system, which puts even more upward pressure on ticket prices. Second, brutal last-minute cancellations. There is nothing worse than getting a cancellation text when you are already in an Uber heading to the airport. Why does it happen so late? It's all about the timing of decision-making. Conflict zones change by the hour. An airspace that was perfectly clear at breakfast might be strictly locked down by lunch. Airlines essentially hold out hope until the absolute last second, waiting to see if a safe window opens up. When the situation remains volatile, they have to pull the plug right at the gate. Third, long-haul flights are the most fragile. Do you know why? Well, when it comes to ultra-long distances, the mechanics are incredibly delicate. Having to suddenly reroute around a huge restricted airspace adds hours to a trip and burns thousands of gallons of extra fuel. On top of that, a flight this long requires perfect coordination at both ends, from crew duty limits to specific landing slots. If an airline senses even the slightest risk of a $250 million jet, along with hundreds of passengers, getting physically stranded halfway across the globe with no clear way home, they simply won't roll the dice. That's exactly why nearly 90% of the cancellations you're seeing right now involve these long-haul routes. Fourth, your backup options are shrinking. Here's the part travelers usually don't think about until something goes wrong. When airlines cut flights, they also cut your escape routes. In a normal month, if one international flight gets canceled, there's usually another option later that day or the next morning. But when carriers start trimming schedules and major hubs are already running on reduced service, those backup seats disappear fast. That means one disruption doesn't just delay your trip, it can trap you in a rebooking mess for a day or two, especially if you're traveling during spring break or into summer. Many Americans hear Iran and think, well, I'm not flying anywhere near there, so I'm fine. But that is just not how global aviation works. For years, mega hubs like Dubai, Doha, and Abu Dhabi have acted as the giant intersections connecting the US, Europe, and Asia. They are the gears keeping the whole system turning. So let's say you're just trying to fly from New York to London, or maybe London to Tokyo. Your route might be nowhere near the Middle East, but the physical plane you're waiting to board? It might be stuck on a tarmac in Dubai, the flight crew assigned to your route. They might be legally maxed out on their working hours because they had to fly a massive, unexpected detour the day before. When this massive transfer system gets squeezed, the damage doesn't stay local. It causes a massive ripple effect that steals aircraft, scrambles crew schedules, and wrecks itineraries on the exact opposite side of the planet. Because of all this chaos, the big US carriers aren't just watching from the sidelines. Delta is holding off on fully dropping its Tel Aviv routes and expanding travel waivers. United has already scaled back flights to both Tel Aviv and Dubai, and that schedule could shrink even more if fuel prices stay high. Meanwhile, American is keeping its travel warnings active and offering free changes across the Middle East. But don't expect your airline to spell any of this out. You're not going to get an email explaining that fuel prices are climbing, routes are getting harder to run, and the network is under massive pressure. Instead, you'll just get the usual corporate language: operational adjustments, network changes, or schedule updates. Translation? They're protecting the operation first, even when that means your trip gets disrupted at the last minute. If there's a flight on your calendar for the next few weeks or months, especially a long-haul international trip, here is the game plan. Your first priority is protecting your flexibility. Jump straight into the travel alerts or waiver section of your airline's app right now to take advantage of any loosened rules. And if you're about to book a new trip, skip basic economy. In a volatile situation, the ability to change a flight or reroute at the last minute is worth way more than saving a few bucks up front. Just as important is protecting your information. Turn on every alert your airline offers: app, email, and SMS. Use a real-time flight tracker, and never head to the airport without checking your flight status one last time. If you're traveling internationally, signing up for the State Department's STEP program is also a smart move, so you can get official security updates quickly. And finally, you have to protect your downside. Always have a plan B. Try to pick routes that avoid major Middle Eastern hubs to lower your risk of getting stranded halfway. And before you book, don't just compare price and total travel time, check the transfer city too. If your whole itinerary depends on one Gulf connection, make sure the airline offers flexible rebooking and that there's at least one realistic backup route if conditions get worse. Also, read the fine print on your travel insurance. Most standard policies won't cover disruptions tied to an act of war. So right now, a cancel for any reason policy is practically your strongest safety net if you want a better shot at getting your money back. In short, the golden era of cheap, fast, and always on-time international flights is temporarily gone. What's happening in the Middle East is now landing straight in the pockets of American travelers through higher fares and constant rescheduling emails. Don't panic, but stop assuming everything will magically fix itself by the summer of 2026. Right now, pause this video for 30 seconds, open your airline app, and check your March and summer trips. The travelers who stay flexible, check notifications daily, and have a solid plan B are the ones who actually get to enjoy their vacation no matter how crazy things get. Drop a comment below. Which trip are you worried about most right now? I'll reply to as many as I can. Let's stay ahead of this chaos together.